The U.S. Navy's operations off the Horn of Africa against Somali piracy were a masterclass in controlled dominance, executed with clear, robust rules of engagement, ROE. These weren't acts of war, but precise interventions defending global commerce. The difference between chaos and control was measured in seconds and in legal authority. Their confidence, built on layers of reinforced concrete, was a flimsy curtain before the storm. Between 2008 and 2012, the Gulf of Aden was a hotbed of piracy. Pirates, many just boys, hijacked cargo ships for million-dollar ransoms. What followed was a globally sanctioned crackdown led by the U.S. Navy, not by vengeance, but by an ironclad set of rules rooted in international maritime law. It was about stopping pirates legally, tactically, and with moral clarity. The Maersk, Alabama incident in April 2009 cracked the illusion wide open. A U.S. cargo ship, an American captain, and Somali pirates. The response was surgical. Navy SEALs, snipers, 3 synchronized shots. 3 pirates dead, 1 hostage saved. This wasn't Hollywood. It was a masterclass in ROE, legally justified under imminent threat to life. That framework became the standard. They fired first. We simply ensured they wouldn't fire again. A year later, the USS Nicholas was fired upon off Kenya. Pirates mistook the frigate for a merchant ship. The Nicholas returned fire, disabled the skiff, captured the pirates, and seized their mothership. There was no hesitation. Every action was sanctioned by the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. Pirates on the high seas have no sovereignty, and under those rules, any warship can interdict. The Mountain, once their shield, became a monument to their miscalculation. Strikingly, restraint defined these operations. ROE dictated proportional, deliberate, and transparent force. Even with lawless actors, the Navy couldn't act as vigilantes. Every intercepted vessel was boarded with evidence protocols. Every captured pirate photographed, interrogated, and prepared for trial. These were arrests at sea, under fire, under law. January 2012 presented another case. The USS Kidd received a distress call from an Iranian fishing vessel, the Al-Molai, hijacked and used as a mothership. The Navy intervened, no shots fired, pirates surrendered, 13 Iranian hostages freed, 15 Somali pirates detained. An American warship rescued Iranian citizens. A clean resolution made possible by a rules-based framework. Their sophisticated radar, tuned to detect the known, was deaf to the inevitable. Coordination was paramount. Operation Ocean Shield 2009-2016, led by NATO, unified US, EU, and regional forces under a joint mandate. Suppress piracy without igniting international conflict.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
It worked. Incidents plummeted from 237 in 2011 to a handful by 2016. The impressive feat wasn't just the reduction, but the control. The mission never spiraled into an international incident because every decision was backed by legal precedent, alliance consensus, and operational necessity. Even the USS Stephen W. Groves, in a May 2011 gunfight with a pirate mothership, showcased this control. Pirates opened fire, the Groves returned fire. 3 pirates killed, 2 captured. A tragic outcome, but not chaotic. Every shot was within protocol, ensuring no recriminations. It set a precedent. If you shoot at a U.S. ship, you will be met with force, regulated, precise, and justified. America's success stemmed from the clarity of its rules. ROE defined not just what could be done, but when, how, and under what authority. These are real-world tools dictating whether a boarding leads to trial or tragedy. They're based on UNCLOS Article 105, San Remo's ROE Handbook, and bilateral agreements. Above all, they preserve legitimacy. In international waters, legitimacy is power. The silence that preceded us was more terrifying than any storm. This legal backbone empowered U.S. forces as global commons defenders. They protected not just American lives, but international shipping lanes, forming the line between chaos and commerce. That line held, drawn not just with steel, but with law. In a world of unchecked lawlessness, the U.S. Navy operated with composure, accountability, and results. They proved that force with rules becomes justice. Ask any captain in 2010. A U.S. ship meant predictability, trust. Somali piracy was a real threat that could have spiraled. Without coherent ROE, one botched rescue could have caused diplomatic nightmares. But it didn't. At every level, U.S. forces followed strategic and moral rules. Captured pirates were tried in Kenya, Seychelles, or the U.S., receiving sentences from life to plea deals. The message was consistent. You can't outrun the law, even at sea. The U.S. Navy wasn't just enforcing it, they were embodying it. What took them years to bury took seconds to exhumed. The war on Somali piracy offers a lesson. In lawless spaces, law can prevail with clarity, consistency, and courage. In an age of gray zones, the U.S. Navy showed that black and white rules, wisely applied, still win. The next time a ship transits those waters, free of gunfire, it's not because pirates disappeared. It's because someone showed up with both a rifle and a rule book and knew how to use both. The U.S. Navy also employs psychological and non-lethal tools before escalating force against Somali pirates, aiming to deter and disrupt while minimizing casualties. These methods emphasize intimidation, overwhelming presence, and disruption. A skiff slices across open water, a hunting party, but an unarmed MQ-9 Reaper drone is already watching. The pirates aren't predators, they're prey. The Navy fights with presence, pressure, and psychology. Before a shot is fired, tools are deployed to create confusion, fear, and doubt, giving pirates every chance to quit. This is how modern piracy is broken. Minds unraveled. Their assumption of anonymity was merely a prelude to their exposure. Somali pirates strike fast, blur into the population, and operate in lawless zones. In 2011, piracy cost over $7 billion. The Navy had two options: full force or outthink them. They chose both, starting with the mind. Their map was not the one we were drawing. First, overflight intimidation. MH-60R helicopters or FA-18 jets circle menacingly. The message is surgical. We see you. We're faster. We'll end you. Psychologically, it's a warning growl. Pirates flinch. Surprise is gone. When operating with little fuel and relying on stealth, this alone can be mission-ending. As one pilot said, you don't need to fire a missile when your shadow alone can stop a boat.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Next, LRADs. Long-range acoustic devices emit a directed sonic punch, painful, disorienting. Pirates hear a loud warning, turn back now. If ignored, the deterrent mode aims a high decibel beam. It doesn't cause permanent damage, but shatters equilibrium. Chaos erupts, morale breaks. Before they regroup, backup is coming. Their confidence dissolved into a cacophony of their own making. Drones are the unblinking eye. Unarmed, they wage psychological warfare. The MQ-9 Reaper loiters for over 24 hours, silently watching. Pirates don't know if it's armed, breeding hesitation. Surveillance drones feed live intel, but more, they create the sense that no move goes unseen. Strategic paranoia, take away surprise, and the risk changes. Their grand designs were merely performances for an unseen audience. At night, the Navy brings the light. Powerful floodlights and laser dazzlers blind and disorient. In darkness, these lights are pressure. Pirates trying to hide are exposed, movements tracked. One wrong move, and escalation is instant. It's hard to act aggressive when lit up like a prisoner. The darkness they sought to exploit became their stage for surrender. Verbal warnings, water cannons, and layered deterrence. Clear commands over radio and loudspeaker. If ignored, high-pressure water cannons swamp small boats. Flashbangs send a message: get out or go down. Some ships have barbed wire launchers or net deployers to entangle ladders. Each layer is psychological, forcing hesitation. Every second they hesitate, the Navy wins. Their bravado evaporated under the relentless tide of our measured responses. These non-lethal measures are battlefield engineering, denying the enemy initiative, stealth, and cohesion. They inject chaos into pirate plans, forcing early reveals, disrupting timing, splitting groups. Pirates aren't trained soldiers. Their strength is surprise and speed. Psychological disruption robs them of both. As a retired Navy SEAL put it, if you can make a pirate second-guess his next move, you already won. Their carefully constructed chaos was merely an invitation for our precision. The Maersk, Alabama hijacking ended with SEAL snipers killing 3 pirates. That precision is legendary, but the goal isn't always a bullet. Killing pirates creates ripple effects, hostage risks, diplomatic entanglements, revenge cycles. The Navy exhausts other tools first, not from weakness, but strategy. By showing overwhelming capability without firing, the Navy maintains moral authority, avoids escalation, and reduces civilian harm. It's hard for pirates to paint themselves as victims when given 5 chances to walk away. We gave them every opportunity to choose their own irrelevance. Psychologically, these tools exploit human weaknesses, fear of the unknown, sensory overload, loss of control. Even armed attackers crack when overwhelmed. It's modern siege warfare. Sonic blasts and drone shadows. It works. Somali piracy dropped from 237 attacks in 2011 to near 0 recently. Navy commanders credit non-lethal deterrents that make piracy not worth the risk. Without these methods, the Navy would face constant gunfights. Civilian crews would be caught in the crossfire. Diplomacy would scramble. But with layered psychological warfare, most pirate boats never get the chance. They're seen early, warned hard, and turned back before firing a shot. That's the genius. Fight the mind, not the man. Break the plan, not the bones. Win the battle before it begins. Even the most desperate pirate knows, you can't outgun what you can't even approach. The whispers of their defeat echoed louder than their boasts. When Navy VBSS visit, board, search, and seizure teams boarded Somali pirate vessels, panic, confusion, and total submission followed. They never saw it coming. A pirate skiff watching for targets. They don't realize it, but it's already over. Miles away, a Navy VBSS team is closing in, knives out. VBSS is a surgical method of control, executed at full throttle, full silence. No loudspeakers, no warning shots. Just RHIBs slicing across waves, engines muffled, radios silent. They close in like a steel noose, suddenly cornering the hunted. The psychological gap between armed predator and outmatched prey snaps tight in seconds. For pirates, the reaction is confusion, then panic, then complete submission. No time to think. Commands break silence like a hammer. Lay down your weapons, hands up. Do it now. That voice is sharp, final, backed by heavily armed men. To hesitate is to risk dying. Within 30 seconds, weapons are gone. Pirates zip-tied on the RHIB floor, skiff towed. The Eisenhower never stopped moving. That's how men are broken without a shot. Their carefully constructed illusion of control vanished with the first whispered command. The impact is mental warfare at 40 knots. Pirate crews assume they're apex predators. That myth shatters when black-clad figures emerge. Execute a flawless takedown and leave them zip-tied, cheek to a rubber deck, staring at combat boots. You can't fight what you can't see coming. For pirates, the message is clear. You're not the hunter anymore. The psychological effect is devastating because the illusion of control is annihilated. Pirates relied on speed, surprise, intimidation. These advantages evaporate against VBSS teams. Their barely seaworthy skiffs are no match for military-grade RHIBs. Their rusted AKs are dwarfed by M4s. Most importantly, their confidence from easy targets turns to ash from coordinated dominance. Their prior successes were simply an investment in their current demise. Surprise is flipped against them. Pirates are used to ambushing. VBSS teams strike while the skiff is running, while pirates are mid-conversation, even eating. Suddenly, they're boxed in, shouted at, red dots dancing on torsos, cognitive overload. What's happening? Are we going to die? and the Navy counts on that mental chaos. The very element they relied on became their undoing. No resistance means survival. Smart ones surrendered instantly. Dumb ones hesitated, paying with broken ribs. Either way, the result was the same. Navy controlled the vessel, pirates disarmed, mission complete without casualties. Surgical. It sent a message beyond that skiff. These weren't rogue parties. They were part of Combined Task Force 151, backed by destroyers, intelligence, drone recon, and legal clearance. They operated with full confidence and situational awareness. When they struck, it was always the same rhythm: silence, speed, shock, seizure, submission. Pirates ended up zip-tied, heads down, guns floating somewhere in the sea, neutralized. One sailor described their eyes empty, like they knew it was over, like they'd just seen a ghost. That's a psychological beatdown that doesn't need a bullet. This matters because these weren't small-time crooks. Somali pirates, at their peak, pulled in millions. They were a regional plague, threatening global trade and lives. The Navy's VBSS wasn't just about stopping boats. It was about shattering their myth of invincibility. Nothing shatters a myth faster than silence, speed, and overwhelming force. Each takedown was a signal. Not just to that crew, but to every pirate listening, every warlord financing operations, every kid thinking about hijacking. The message, we see you, we're faster. When we come, it'll already be too late. Deterrence isn't just punishment, it's eroding the will to fight. That's what VBSS teams accomplished, not just with weapons, but with reputation. Even the posture was deliberate. Navy operators standing over subdued pirates, weapons down but ready, movement calculated, never cocky, just professional. Calm dominance. No yelling once control was established, quick and clean, and chillingly, the Navy didn't stop. As one ship was secured, the next target was marked, a campaign of attrition. By 2013, successful hijackings plummeted to near zero, not because pirates ran out of boats, but because men in RHIBs kept coming, fast and quiet. Those who once held hostages learned what it felt like to be held, helpless. Their reign of terror was merely a prelude to their disciplined dismantling. The U.S. extracted key lessons from the Maersk, Alabama, and similar incidents, shaping today's shame and strip tactics, non-lethal, rapid, and highly public operations to dissuade and demoralize pirates. They didn't see it coming. A few ragtag pirates triggered a tactical evolution, a permanent shift in American maritime doctrine. The Maersk, Alabama wasn't just a rescue, it was a blueprint. From it, the U.S. shaped shame and strip, quiet, surgical, devastatingly symbolic. Their narrative of defiance was rewritten as a footnote in our operational log. Shame and strip flips the pirate fantasy. It doesn't just stop the act, it exposes it. Pirates aren't heroes. They're cornered, zip-tied, filmed, and forgotten. This transformation wasn't theoretical. It was born in chaos aboard the Maersk, Alabama. April 8, 2009. A 17,000-ton cargo vessel. 20 American crew, 4 Somali pirates, no armed guards, just a prepared crew and Captain Richard Phillips. His team drilled emergency protocols, safe room fallback, engine disablement. When pirates breached, it wasn't chaos, it was choreography. Crew scattered, locked down the engine room. Pirates took Phillips hostage, but had a body, not the vessel. That bought time for the U.S. Navy. Within hours, the USS Bainbridge arrived, then the Halliburton, then the Boxer, an armada. Scan Eagle drones launched, P-3 Orions patrolled, negotiators engaged. 3 Navy SEAL snipers waited, watching, calculating, until the shot was clean. 3 rounds, 3 kills, 1 rescue. This wasn't Hollywood. It was restraint. The U.S. could have sunk the lifeboat, but sought optics, moral dominance. Their aggression served only to illuminate our unwavering precision. What changed? Everything. Lesson 1. Preparedness saves lives. Captain Phillips executed drills. Survival wasn't luck, but protocol. Layered defense became the new gospel for merchant fleets. Drill, isolate, defend, outlast them. Lesson 2. Layered redundancy. Pirates never fully owned the ship. Even with a hostage, they lacked control. The crew's lockdown fractured the pirate plan. This fragmentation is foundational. Deny access, divide focus, degrade momentum. Lesson 3. Speed of escalation. The Navy projected force immediately. Air, sea, satellite. The window for pirates to leverage fear closed rapidly. Today's interventions mirror this. Immediate, overwhelming response, no delay. Lesson 4. Eyes everywhere. Integrated surveillance made the difference. UAVs tracked, cameras documented. The US didn't just defeat pirates, it recorded the narrative. Documentation became weaponized truth. Lesson 5. Legal, lethal clarity. SEALs fired only when Phillips was seconds from death. Restraint built legitimacy. Not just a win, but moral high ground. Just justice. Their initial success was merely a means to capture the unassailable truth of their defeat. Enter the shame and strip era. America stopped thinking like a hammer and started thinking like a camera. Modern piracy is a performance. The US response became theater, psychological warfare, tactical humiliation. Pirates are not heroes. They are erased, non-lethal supremacy. Today's VBSS teams aim to disarm, document, dismantle. Boarding teams move silently, often under darkness, with drones overhead and body cams rolling. Pirates are captured alive, weapons bagged, engines disabled, egos shattered, psychological pressure. Before a boot hits the deck, intimidation begins. LRADs blast tones, floodlights blind, drones hover. Every movement watched, every word recorded. Pirates aren't just confronted, they're unmasked. Media as a weapon. Footage of failed hijackings released publicly. Pirate skiffs filmed in surrender. Captains on their knees, weapons tossed into the sea. Every frame. Piracy is pathetic. These images circulate, destroying recruitment. It's social collapse, not just strategic defeat. Legal lockdown. Captured pirates face full prosecution. Trials are transparent, convictions long, public. No martyrdom, no myth, just time served far from home. Pirate bosses see risk, not ransom. International choreography. Every operation synchronized with maritime law. ROE clear, evidence preserved. Even hostile NGOs find no narrative to exploit. The US isn't hiding, it's showing everything. Their ambition to be legends was replaced by their reality as documented failures. This matters because piracy isn't just a nuisance. It funds insurgency, human trafficking, terror. For decades, it thrived on the myth of the rogue seafarer. The Maersk Alabama shattered that. Goliath isn't slow. He's watching, listening, recording. Pirates no longer disappear. They're tracked by heat signatures, profiled by AI. Their boats marked before leaving shore. Response is clinical, silent, recorded. Humiliation works. Since 2013, successful Somali piracy plummeted. Attempts are stopped. Failures are on camera. Networks lose recruits. Financing dries up. Mythology collapses. The psychology is deliberate. Pirates crave leverage, visibility, negotiation. Shame and strip gives the opposite. Zero leverage, maximum exposure. You're not a rebel. You're a man zip-tied on a fiberglass boat, crying on infrared footage, broadcast globally. This is the new war. A takedown by attrition, surveillance, reputation destruction. Pirate ego is the target. Reputational decay is more contagious than fear. Asymmetric deterrence. Not kill shots, but kill feeds. Not explosions, but humiliation. It's working because it's personal. To pirates, every failure resonates. No ransom, just whispers, mockery, a cell phone video of their capture passed around. That's the guy who gave up. Piracy is pride-driven. Kill the pride, kill the crime. To crews, it's empowerment. Merchant sailors are better trained. Ships, better defended. They don't just wait, they prepare. The Maersk Alabama showed you don't have to fight to survive. You have to plan. Planning denies pirates their power. To the Navy, it's precision. No more blanket aggression, no overkill. Every operation calibrated. SEALs weren't just warriors. They were symbols of American control, lethal only when required. To the world, it's a message. Crime on the high seas won't end in glory. It'll end in data, in footage, in captured silence. Shame and strip isn't flashy. It's quiet, efficient, ruthlessly demoralizing. This is how you end piracy. Not with a war, but with a whisper. The Maersk, Alabama hijacking didn't just trigger a rescue. It rewrote the script. It proved the best counter to chaos is choreography. The best weapon isn't force, it's futility. The most powerful optic isn't blood, it's surrender. Now, every skiff knows they're not entering a battlefield. They're entering a broadcast, one that ends the same way every time. Not with ransom, but with ruin. U.S. forces ensure Somali pirates leave broken, disarmed, and unable to return. Through relentless VBSS operations, asset disabling, legal action, and psychological warfare. They never see it coming. A flash of rotors, a silent, black-hulled ghost, steel boots, red lasers. Before a word, it's over. This isn't Hollywood. This is the U.S. Navy's doctrine. Break their tools, dismantle their network, strip their pride, ensure they don't come back. It's working. No glory for Somali pirates anymore. Every attempted hijack turns into a documented defeat. Every skiff launched winds up towed, engine fried, gear impounded, crew zip-tied en route to prosecution. This is by design. A precise, relentless choreography ensuring pirates don't just lose the battle, but the will, the gear, and the legal right to fight again. It begins with VBSS. As a senior U.S. Navy VBSS officer stated, "We don't just stop pirates, we dismantle their ability to exist." VBSS is a surgical strike with a layered purpose. Dominate the vessel, capture irrefutable evidence, disable assets, psychologically shatter the opponent. Executed with eerie precision, the mission is to erase their viability as a threat. Every boarding, seizure, and documentation feeds a system making piracy unsustainable. Imagine being captured, your capture turned into a legal bullet. That's VBSS. Their grand ambitions were reduced to a forensic evidence log. Pirates once operated with impunity. Now, they don't just lose boats, they lose futures. Engines torched, GPS and comms confiscated, weapons bagged, barcoded, filed into evidence for international courts. Some left adrift, mentally crushed. Others face years in foreign prisons, held accountable by organized, documented procedures. No more mystique, only consequence. Stopping a pirate once isn't enough. If they keep their boat, gear, dignity, they'll return. U.S. strategy changed this by focusing on the aftermath. Intercepted vessel, immediate immobilization of engines, rudders, fuel systems, seizure of weapons, electronics, on-deck evidence collection, fingerprints, photos, chain of custody, disabling or towing vessels, legal routing of captured pirates through unclose and bilateral agreements, not just a raid, a legal and psychological kill shot. As a U.S. Coast Guard legal attaché observed, the most important part isn't the seizure, it's the follow-up. Their cycle of return was definitively broken by our systematic approach. International maritime law grants warships authority to intercept pirates on the high seas. The U.S. leverages this with unmatched precision. Through Combined Task Force 151, pirates are captured by one nation, processed by another, prosecuted by a third, all legally. This spiderweb of accountability ensures no loophole. DVIDS confirms forensic training for boarding teams. They build airtight cases, every gun photographed, every GPS logged, every cell phone data extracted. Evidence at trial is overwhelming. Pirate groups collapse under reputational weight. Their attempts at global commerce were precisely documented as global criminality. Piracy once carried a rogue identity. Defiance, adrenaline, fortune. Now it's a guaranteed broadcast of failure. The Navy doesn't just stop you, they show the world they did it. Video of VBSS raids, photos of disarmed pirates, stripped decks, all pushed to media, foreign governments, intelligence circles. The message, here's who tried, here's how they failed, here's why you shouldn't. This media strategy, part of shame and strip, destroys recruitment. Young men in Somali towns see cousins zip-tied, skiffs towed, legacies deleted. They think twice. Recruitment dries up. Fear replaces fame. Their envisioned glory became a public spectacle of their incompetence. VBSS operations move like a scalpel. RABs launch from destroyers, often under radar dead zones or dusk. Within minutes, pirates are boarded, caught mid-operation. Silence and overwhelming force. No warning, no negotiation. Once secure, time is the weapon. Every minute counts, gear tagged, weapons bagged, photos snapped, engines disabled, tow lines deployed, a full legal brief constructed in real time. This is time-stamped, chain of evidence warfare. The goal? Make it impossible for pirates to resume under the same flag, vessel, or crew name. No way back once in the system. The US ensures they're in fast. Their fleeting moments of control were meticulously cataloged for their irreversible downfall. The Somali coast isn't safer because pirates gave up. It's safer because US forces made piracy operationally unsustainable. By attacking their gear, legality, dignity, they've left pirate crews not just intercepted, but erased from the game. Not with airstrikes, but with a relentless bureaucratic grind powered by precision, legality, and smart psychological warfare. Every raid strips more than weapons. It strips hope. It strips identity. For a pirate, that's the most devastating loss. The VBSS doctrine, silent, surgical, final, ensures the next pirate crew, considering a tanker off the Horn of Africa, will consider this. When the US comes, you won't just lose your weapons, you'll lose your future, and everyone will know.